Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Tuesday. It's April 24th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and we had a huge sell-off today. Early on, I was looking at this tighter channel here, and of course, we had a break and a new low, and it looked like we were going to rally here. So you'll see there's a couple of longs in here, but once we confirm this flatter channel, of course, this one's a little bit steeper. This is more of your 45-degree angle, but again, it picked up really steep here and it just shot right through that larger channel. Okay, it's been a busy day. I've got interrupted right out of the gate, but yeah, we in here you'll see it looked like we might have a reversible. Once we confirmed this flatter trend right here, it was all downhill from there, and you won't see any more longs. You can't go long anymore because this is just too strong a trend. I really thought, and here's a good example because this is where you would expect we would probably bounce the measured distance, but it can't even it can't even pretend to bounce, and it just keeps going lower until we finally rallied and corrected a bit, and we're still correcting at this point. So we're more of a sideways, kind of upward sideways, slightly upward bias to sideways bias now. But I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. I've got another obligation this evening, so I don't have much time here. But you had to be a little patient this morning because you really didn't get a chance. There's not a good entry here. It was all uphill, and so you're just kind of waiting on a setup, and you get a lower high right here, but this bar, let me make this a little bigger. That's still hard to see. This bar is too bullish. And by the time this one sets up, you're just going sideways here, and it's just not a very good entry. You would hope that you'd get that reversal pattern, and it doesn't come till way down here, and you've moved too far then, you're too far away from the EMA. So really you just have to kind of sit tight, and notice what happens here. You get a first entry short, you move up, and you get a second entry short, and I kind of drew this trend line off these lows right here. You really don't know if that's correct or not, but that's the way I drew it. And you drag it up and just kind of see what happens. And it turns out we get a turn down. But notice how this is really sideways kind of. And so you could treat this kind of like a failed break higher. But either way, you get a little bit of a close outside move to a new high. Just being that far away from the EMA on a second entry, I like that one. It's a relatively bearish bar, and we're a good bit away from the EMA. It is a second entry short, and we do have, I mean, this is not a very convincing close, but when you put all that together, I think you're fine to go short. Of course, you'd rather see that lower high or reversal pattern, but you don't get it here. And once we started lower, I would be thinking possible measured move at a minimum. Measure that, and you look for your measured move, and you can see we got really close, and it bounces again. And I was really looking for it to turn down here, but it comes up, you get a close outside, it tries to go higher once, tries to go higher again, fails, still a good bit away from the EMA, just go short right there. And if you take this one trade, if you caught either one of these, you get a nice long ride down, easy run. And these are the kind I would try to hold a runner on. And then notice what happens. You're going down first entry long, pull back second entry long. That's a failed second entry long. This is at the low of the day. But with that being a failed second entry long and being really the first close outside that trend line, and it actually went higher and turns and went out the other side, I'd probably risk that one for at least a scalp. But I mean, it moves on down. You get a little bit more out of it. I'd be looking for it to at least probably try to come back down to this lower side here. You do have your close outside, so generally what will happen is you'll either undershoot it by that much or overshoot it. So I figured we'd probably overshoot it by that much. If we even if you undershoot it by that much, you probably got room to get out there. It bounces again, and you get this little trap right here, a second entry short right off the EMA. This thing's looking really weak now, and so I like going short again. And then we finally make a new low, and then you get a first entry short, a second entry short. I went back and forth about this one. This one probably, it's real close to being green because we didn't push through the EMA, but we had this overshoot and we've really moved a long way down. Um, and you've had at least a couple of legs down. And so with that reversal pattern, you might want to, that's where you might catch a low where it reverses and goes the other way. And so, again, it could be, you could argue for that one to be green. It's real close. I'll leave it blue. I don't think I like any of these others up here. You really need to wait on the lower high because we could be working on a reversal now and you got this little channel working up, but just the bottom falls out. You do get a failed second entry long right here. It's kind of a repeat pattern again. It went higher and then turns and goes out the other side. But we've already had a break here, and now we've got another break. But it could be that this is your first leg down, and so we may get a second leg down. So, but I just think, and there is a short-term trend line right there, and that does confirm it, and it goes higher first and turns down. But there's a, you're starting to see some support across here, and so it looks a little like a breakout pullback short. But I just think it's really risky at that point. But you could probably argue for it, I guess is where I'm going. I'm willing to mark that one green as well. I doubt I would have taken it, but it does fit the rules to a degree. I mean, if you're looking at it just like I just described, there's no reason you couldn't take it. And then notice we bounce a few times down here and we finally, so now I'm thinking we're probably going to get that reversal. And so here's your failed, notice your new low, and you do get a little failed break lower here, but we're making the lower low each time. So again, I'm not going to try to pick that bottom. I'm going to wait on that pattern. And you get the failed second entry short right here. Everything's above the EMA. I like fairly bullish bar too. I like going long right there. Turns out it's just a quick move back up, and I would draw this trend line just in case. Actually, I drew it down here first and drug it up, and it fits right here. And so if you turn down right here with a lower high or a reversal pattern, you're probably going to want to enter right here because this original channel is just a little bit steep. I mean, generally you want this 45-degree angle more like this one. So, and notice we're just kind of going along here. There's a we're kind of going sideways, but notice how we're making higher lows each time. That's generally means you're going to push up. But we finally get back up here, and look how it turns down right at the trend line, closes inside it, turns back up, makes a lower high. When it broke below that bar right there, I'd go short. This is really your signal bar, so your stop has to go up here, but that's where you'd go short. One tick below that little bearish bar right there, and off it goes. You get your failed second entry long here, and we're probably headed back down to this side at that point, so I like going short there. And then you might consider this one. This is the first close outside this short-term trend line, and we're not down to the low side yet. At this point, you don't know this is a midline. This is just looking like a channel here. And so that's two legs back, relatively bearish bar. I think you're better off to wait on a better entry, but that's still two legs back to an EMA. And this is really your signal bar. It's one tick higher than this one, but you may let it break below this one and try to get a limit order in here. And you could have gotten filled back right where you would have gone short there and put your stop up there, and it would have worked. But you still get the same opportunity again when you get a first entry long and a second entry long. It fails and you're not back down here yet. Go short right there, and guess what? You get a surprise. A runner would have just kept going. So once again, you get a nice runner there, thinking it would probably bounce here, but it just keeps going. And then it pulls back and retest it, but you don't know if this is not just an overshoot at this point, so you just kind of got to sit tight. And there's another failed second entry long right there, and it's back inside that original trend line, and it's holding. So, and it did go higher first and turn and go out the other side. Again, you've moved a long way down, and it's right at the low of the day, but you could probably argue, I mean, that pattern has been so good to us lately. I mean, if you just traded that pattern alone lately, you'd probably be making a killing in the market in the ES. So we'll mark that one as well. Just and where was? Oh, here it is, right here. Uh, Notice first entry long, second entry long, and it fails, and it's right along that original trend line. And it went higher first and turned down. It's kind of a repeat pattern from earlier. And then once again, we're just going sideways here, and you actually make a little double bottom. You move up first entry, second entry, and you could treat this like a little failed break higher. It's a little small bar, only 2 or 3 ticks in it. So I like taking that one just to get a quick move back down to at least test the breakout or back down to the next low or so. But again, you get rewarded and it just takes off. And now it's back in this other channel again, and that channel's holding. And so you would add another nice runner there. And then you're just going sideways. Again, this is kind of a repeat of this one. It almost looks exactly the same. I don't have my upper line on there, but you can see that. You get that little failed breakout. So you might go short below that one, just looking for it to head on down again. And I would expect it to bounce along this 2-tier channel, and it kind of does, but then it falls on through, and it's like this original. Actually, this is not the original channel. I drew this off these lows and drug it up, and now this channel is holding. It's gotten steeper again. I almost overlooked that, but it's actually gotten steeper again. So I would play this one as long as it's in play. And notice that high, and you're moving down first entry, and then you get a second entry, and that's when it breaks lower. So that one's a little risky because it's right into this bigger channel, trend channel line here, and so it could have hit that and bounced. So I'm not as crazy about that one. And once we got underneath there, especially once we went below this new one here, I just was a little leery of taking any more shorts down here. Then of course we bounce, you get your close outside, you move to a new high, and notice what happens. You get that's really a 2-legged move back. You're way away from the EMA. Actually, your signal bar is this. Oops, I grabbed the wrong one like usual. Your signal bar is actually that little bitty one there. And it's only like 3 ticks. I'd go short right there just to ride it back to the EMA if anything. And of course, again, it just takes off. And then we're just we finally make a new low here. So now you got to close outside that short term on a new low, 2 legs down to a new low, and it looks like it's going to bounce, but I wouldn't be buying anything in here. But notice it finds this resistance across here, and it breaks up here, and this actually went higher and turns, it goes back down. And I like that one just for another short there, just simply because this is played out. And notice that's a new low, and it is a second entry too, and you got that little fake out where it goes higher and turns down. And that got you in the 2 o'clock hour. So it was kind of a crazy, wild down day. It didn't start out looking like it was. I mean, even though it starts out as a down day pretty much right out of the gate, it doesn't really pick up steam until here. And I mean, when it picked up steam, it picked up steam. So once you start going down that hard, don't be looking to try to for any reversal patterns or anything. Not until you get a confirmed trend in the other direction would you want to consider going long again. And you never get that at all. So not before 2 o'clock. So just, it's all downhill from, you might look at these first 2 longs, but from this point on, when it got really steep, it's all downhill. Don't be trying to find any reversal patterns or anything. Only way you'd want to consider long is if you get a confirmed trend reversal and the trend's moving in the other direction strongly and consistently off the trend line, and you got to, and I mean, you can see here, this is nothing strong about this. We're just kind of up and down sideways. But it was a good trading day, and like I said, once we started down here, I would just stay with this, and at the very least, you should have measured down from like right here, and then once we started down here, that would have been my first target right in there. And of course, once you got this really steep channel You may not be able to see it here. Let me back out a little. Once you got this really steep, this is like a spike in channel here. And once you got this, you can see this one. Let me just change the color of it just to clarify. It may make it a little easier to see some of this stuff. This is a busy chart, and I hate having busy charts like this, but you want to get it all on there. So now maybe you can see that channel, and that's a obvious channel. It's holding and playing out both sides until you get a little overshoot, and then we reversed, and you get a break outside. Notice even with an overshoot on something that strong, we still made a new low before the market started correcting some. So that's pretty standard. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.